The galaxy was quiet, ruled by powerful alien empires that thought they had nothing to fear. They believed humans were weak, simple creatures who only farmed, traded, and lived on their small blue planet for thousands of years. No alien empire paid much attention to Earth. They laughed at the idea that humans could ever rise to power. To them, humans were nothing but background noise in the vast universe. But the aliens were wrong. Deep in forgotten regions of space, far from the eyes of alien spies, the humans had been building something dangerous. They had been waiting, watching, and learning in silence, hidden inside asteroid fields, under the shadows of gas giants. And within dead systems there were warships, gigantic black ships with no markings, no signals, and no sound. They were like shadows drifting in the darkness. No alien scout had ever seen them and lived. If a curious patrol ship ever came too close, it vanished. The few broken signals that reached alien command spoke of strange flashes of light and sudden destruction. But no wreckage was ever found. Some said it was a myth. Others whispered it was a warning. One night, near the edge of alien-controlled space, a group of pirates attacked a convoy of merchants. The pirates were sure of their victory. They had strong ships and many weapons. The merchants begged for mercy, but none was given. Then something unexpected happened. From the shadows of space, a human warship appeared. It was black and silent. Its surface absorbed the light, as if it were made of darkness itself. The pirates laughed at first. They thought it was just another weak human ship, easy prey for their guns. But when the human warship fired, everything changed. A beam of pure energy cut through the pirate flagship in one strike. The ship cracked apart like glass, and in seconds it was gone. The other pirate ships tried to fight, but the black warship was too fast. It moved like a ghost, appearing and disappearing. Its weapons destroyed ships before they could even lock targets in less than 3 minutes. The pirate fleet was nothing but fire and broken metal, drifting in silence. The human ship did not send a message. It did not ask for thanks. It simply turned and vanished back into the dark. The merchant survivors told the story in terror and awe. It was not a ship, they said. It was a shadow. And it killed them all. When alien leaders heard these rumors, they laughed. Humans cannot build such ships, they said. This is only fear talking. But still, doubt began to grow. Scouts were sent to search for this so-called ghost ship. None returned. Soon whispers began to spread through the galaxy. Some said the humans had weapons beyond imagination. Others said they had made pacts with machines or even darker forces. Some believed they had learned secrets from forgotten ancient races no one truly knew. But fear had begun. A powerful alien empire, the Zarketh Dominion, finally took the matter seriously. They had crushed countless worlds and enslaved entire species. To them, humans were nothing more than pests. But they did not like the idea of hidden fleets in their territory. The Zarketh sent 3 scout ships into human space. The ships never returned. A week later, they sent a larger patrol fleet of 10 warships. Again, silence, no signal, no wreckage, no trace. Now the galaxy began to worry. How could humans, weak and ignored for so long, suddenly erase entire fleets? The Council of Empires called for a meeting. Alien generals, admirals, and rulers sat in a great chamber. We must know the truth, they argued. Some demanded a full-scale invasion. Others warned that attacking blindly could lead to disaster. In the middle of these debates, one last transmission arrived. It was from the Zarketh patrol commander. His voice was broken, filled with fear. "They are here," he whispered. "They are everywhere. We cannot see them. We cannot stop them. They are coming." Then the signal cut. Panic spread across the council chamber. For the first time in centuries, alien rulers felt something they had almost forgotten: fear. But still, many refused to believe. "They are only humans," one emperor shouted. "They cannot fight us. They cannot win." His voice echoed through the hall, but inside even he was not certain, far away. On the edge of known space, human warships drifted silently, their weapons charged, their engines quiet. Commanders studied alien tactics, voices calm for years. Humanity had hidden in the shadows, but now the shadows were moving. The galaxy had no idea what was about to happen. The aliens thought humans were weak. They thought humans were harmless. They thought they had nothing to fear. But by the time they learned the truth, it was already too late. The silent fleet was awake, and it was watching. The galaxy was still whispering about the mysterious ghost ships. Many called the stories lies. Others said it was only fear and rumor. But those who had seen the black shadows with their own eyes knew better. They had watched entire fleets vanish into the dark, and their voices shook when they spoke of it. The Zarkith Dominion, proud and cruel, could not ignore the silence any longer. Their leaders believed strength was the only truth in the universe. They gathered a fleet of 50 ships, strong and armed with heavy cannons. Their admiral swore to crush the humans and bring back proof of their weakness. The fleet entered human space. Confident and arrogant, at first all was quiet. The stars around them seemed normal. The planets they passed were dead, empty rocks. The alien crews laughed at the idea of humans hiding here, but then strange things began to happen. Radar showed signals, shadows moving in the dark. But when they turned, nothing was there. Engines flickered for no reason. Lights dimmed across ships without warning. Then came the voices. Broken signals, faint whispers across the comms. Voices that said nothing clear but filled the crew with dread. On the third day, the first ship disappeared. No explosion, no distress call. One moment it was there, and the next it was gone. The other ships searched the area, but they found nothing. Only drifting fragments melted and twisted, as if the ship had been torn apart by unseen hands. The admiral ordered tighter formations. He ordered all ships to keep their weapons ready. But the Shadow Fleet was faster, in the Black Sea of space. The human warships moved like hunters. They struck from behind, tore through the shields of their prey, and vanished before the aliens could even fire. One alien captain screamed into the comms, "They are inside the dark! We cannot see them. We cannot fight them." His voice ended in static as his ship broke apart. Another officer whispered, "It is not war. It is slaughter in less than an hour." 10 ships were gone, destroyed without warning. The rest of the fleet panicked. Some tried to retreat, but their engines failed. Some fired wildly into empty space, hitting nothing but stars. The admiral himself, proud and fearless, felt terror for the first time on his command ship. He saw flashes of light outside the viewport, beams of pure energy striking his fleet. He ordered a counterattack, but his targeting system showed only empty darkness. Then he saw them, massive black warships sliding out of the shadows, no lights, no signals, only silence. They looked like monsters, shaped by fear itself. He realized the truth too late. The humans had not been weak. They had been hiding, they had been watching. They had been waiting for this very moment. The admiral shouted for all ships to retreat, but his words were lost in the storm of destruction. His ship shook, alarms blaring, and in his final moment he whispered, "They are everywhere," before the black light swallowed him whole. The Zarkith Dominion waited for the fleet's return. Days passed, then weeks, but no ships came back. Only one broken signal reached their borders. The words were faint, but they chilled every listener. "Ghosts in the dark, run, they are coming." Panic spread through the empire. Some leaders demanded revenge. Others warned that attacking again would only bring more loss. But pride is a dangerous thing. Another fleet was assembled. This time 200 ships strong. They swore no human shadow could stand against such power. The fleet set out, armed with the best weapons of the empire, and then they vanished. No distress calls, no wreckage, nothing. 200 ships gone as if they had never existed. The news shook the galaxy. In the great council hall of empires, rulers of many species gathered. The air was heavy with fear. Some shouted that the humans had discovered new technology. Others believed they had found some ancient weapon left behind by forgotten gods. A few whispered that maybe humans themselves were not what they seemed. Maybe they were something more, something older, something hidden behind their quiet masks. The council decided to act. They would send spies, secret agents, hidden among the humans, to learn the truth. The spies never returned. Now the whispers grew louder. Entire trade routes near human space went dark. Merchant ships that passed close to Earth simply disappeared. Rumors said the humans were taking them, breaking them apart, studying them, or worse, using them for the first time. The alien empires felt hunted. They looked at the stars and wondered if shadows were watching them back. Generals began to lose sleep. Leaders grew paranoid. Trust between empires began to break apart. And through it all, the humans said nothing. They did not answer the messages sent to them. They did not appear in the halls of the council. They did not demand anything. They only waited, silent and patient. The galaxy finally understood. The humans were not just defending their home. They were preparing for something larger, something far beyond defense. The alien rulers looked at each other and asked the question none wanted to speak. What if the humans are not weak? What if they are the hunters and we are the prey? The thought settled into their minds like poison, spreading fear through every corner of the galaxy. They had ignored humans for too long. They had underestimated them. And now, as fleets vanished into the dark, they realized the truth might already be too late. The galaxy had begun to tremble. Alien rulers who once laughed at humans now sat in silence. Their fleets had vanished, their scouts destroyed. Their spies never returned. It was no longer a rumor. The truth was undeniable. Humans were hiding something. For centuries, humans had been seen as weak. They had no grand empire, no great armies. They were a small voice in a galaxy filled with giants. But humans had patience, and patience was their weapon. While alien empires wasted centuries fighting each other, humans studied, they listened, they observed every battle, every tactic, every mistake. They did not rush to build vast empires, they built knowledge. In hidden shipyards carved into asteroids, in secret bases hidden under oceans, and in dark stations that moved between dead stars, humans built their fleet, not just ships, but strategies. They trained commanders to think in ways no alien ever did. Where alien admirals relied on numbers and traditions, humans created chaos. They built ships that could vanish into shadows, strike from impossible angles and move faster than the eye could follow. An alien fleet was like a beast, strong but predictable, marching forward with pride and power. The human fleet was like a pack of wolves, silent, clever, striking from the dark and disappearing before the beast even turned. When the first human admiral met with his commanders, he said only one thing: the aliens think we are weak. That is our greatest strength, and so, the humans became ghosts, unseen hunters in a galaxy of prey. The Council of Empires tried to understand. They gathered their best strategists. They studied old battles. They asked themselves, how can humans who were so small now destroy us? Their answers frightened them even more. Humans had no single style. They adapted. When one tactic failed, they changed. When one path closed, they created another. An alien general spoke in fear. We fight like machines. We follow rules, patterns and codes. Humans do not. They are unpredictable. They are chaos. Across the galaxy, alien commanders began to notice something terrifying. No human battle was ever the same. In one attack, humans would strike from behind. In another, they would appear inside the heart of a fleet. In some battles, they destroyed ships without firing a shot, shutting down systems with strange weapons that no one understood. The galaxy had always believed in strength. Bigger fleets, larger cannons, stronger shields. That was how wars were fought. But humans proved all of that wrong. Their ships were smaller, lighter, yet deadlier. Their weapons cut through shields like they were nothing. Their stealth made radar useless. Their tactics made numbers meaningless, and humans knew how to wait. They did not rush into the open. They let fear grow. They let alien empires waste resources searching the stars. They let rumors spread like fire, until the galaxy itself began to tear apart from the inside. Merchants refused to travel near human space. Trade routes collapsed. Alliances cracked under fear. Soldiers refused to fight, their minds filled with ghost stories. Whole fleets turned paranoid, firing at shadows, wasting their own strength before humans even arrived. The most powerful alien empire, the Zarketh Dominion, began to crumble. Their people asked questions the rulers could not answer. Where are our fleets? Where are our defenders? Who are the humans? The rulers gave no answers, because even they were afraid, but humans had answers. For years they had watched, for years they had studied, for years they had planned, and now their plan was almost ready. In the dark war rooms of hidden stations, human commanders gathered. They looked at maps filled with alien worlds. They marked supply lines, trade routes, and capitals. Their leader spoke calmly. They do not fear our ships. They fear what they cannot see. We will show them nothing until it is too late. The plan was simple. Strike not at fleets, but at the heart of empires. Cut their food, their fuel, their power. Leave their ships stranded, leave their people starving. And when they are weak, strike hard and fast. Aliens had never fought this way. To them, war was a show of power. Fleets facing fleets in grand battles. To humans, war was survival. Quick, brutal, and merciless. Humans did not seek honor. They sought victory. The galaxy was about to learn the human way of war. And as the first phase of the human strategy began, strange things happened. Entire colonies of aliens went dark. Their power grids failed. Their communication towers collapsed. Supply ships vanished into the void. It was not open war, not yet. It was a shadow war, silent and deadly. Alien leaders shouted in anger, "Where are the humans? Show them to us!" But the humans showed nothing. They stayed in the dark, striking unseen, never giving their enemies a target. Finally, the Council of Empires could not wait any longer. They gathered the largest fleet the galaxy had seen. Hundreds of ships armed with the strongest weapons. They declared war. "We will crush the humans in one great strike." But humans had been waiting for this moment. For the first time, they would reveal their true strength. For the first time, the galaxy would see the human fleet in open battle. And when the alien armada crossed into human space, they did not find weakness, they found shadows, they found death. The humans had spent centuries building a weapon the galaxy could never imagine. And now it was time to use it. The largest fleet in the galaxy moved like a storm. Hundreds of alien warships shining with power. Cut through the void of space, they were heavy with weapons, armed with shields thicker than mountains, and commanded by the most feared admirals of the empires. They believed no force could stop them. They believed the humans would finally be crushed under their sheer strength. The galaxy watched. Billions of eyes turned to the skies, waiting for the battle. Some believed the humans would beg for mercy. Others believed they would vanish into silence again. But most believed this time the humans would be destroyed. The fleet entered human space. Systems near Earth went quiet. Stars looked empty. Planets were barren. No human fleet appeared. Days passed, and still nothing. The alien admirals laughed. They thought the humans were running. They thought the humans were hiding, but the silence was the trap. On the fifth day, the first attack came. It was small, almost invisible. A single alien ship exploded without warning, its shields never activated. Its crew never even knew they were under attack. The admirals called it an accident, then another ship vanished, then two more. Fear began to crawl through the fleet. Signals were jammed. Radars showed nothing but static. Strange whispers filled the comms, some sounding like the voices of their own crews. "They are behind us," one captain screamed. "No, they are inside us," shouted another. Then his ship split apart like it was made of paper. The humans struck like lightning. Black warships slid out of the shadows. They appeared from dead zones, from behind asteroids. Even from the empty dark between stars, they did not roar, they did not boast. They simply attacked. Their beams cut through shields. Their missiles moved like hunters, chasing ships no matter where they fled. The alien fleet fired back with everything they had. Their cannons filled space with fire. Their torpedoes streaked through the void. But they hit nothing. The human ships were already gone, moving faster than alien eyes could follow. Panic spread. Admirals barked orders, but their commands clashed. Some demanded the fleet stay tight. Others ordered them to scatter in the chaos. Human warships picked them apart one by one. From the bridge of a human flagship, Admiral Cade watched calmly. His voice was steady. "Strike and vanish. Do not let them breathe. Break their spirit." Not just their ships, and so it was done. Alien crews began to mutiny. Some refused to fight. Some turned their guns on their own allies, screaming that shadows were everywhere. The mighty fleet was falling apart from inside. The humans revealed new weapons. Strange energy that slipped through shields like water through glass. Whole ships shut down, floating helpless before being torn apart. Other weapons bent light itself, making human ships invisible until the very moment of the strike. In the galaxy's history, battles had always been shows of strength. Two fleets would meet, fire upon each other, and the strongest would remain. But this battle was something else. It was not a battle, it was a hunt. Alien admirals screamed into broken comms, "Fight them! Stand your ground!" But it was useless. Their fleets were prey, and the humans were wolves. The turning point came when the flagship of the Zarketh Dominion, a massive fortress ship 3 kilometers long, came under attack. It was said to be invincible. Its shields could withstand the fire of 100 ships. Its hull was built from metals mined in dead stars. No empire had ever cracked it. The humans cracked it in minutes. Black warships surrounded it from every side. They struck with precision, disabling its shields, ripping apart its engines, slicing through its armor. The fortress ship tried to fight, its cannons filling the void with fury, but it could not keep up. Its weapons fired at empty space, and every second another wound was carved into its hull. When the great ship finally split in two, the shockwave was felt across the galaxy. Billions watched as their greatest warship, their symbol of power, was torn apart by human hands. And then the humans did something stranger still. They did not finish the alien fleet. They could have destroyed them all. They could have left nothing, but instead, they vanished back into the shadows, leaving the survivors to carry the story. The broken alien ships limped back to their empires. Their crews half mad, their voices shaking. They told of black warships that could not be seen, of weapons that could not be stopped, of a fleet that struck like nightmares. The galaxy realized the truth. The humans were not defending, they were not hiding anymore. They were showing their strength piece by piece. They wanted the galaxy to see, to fear, to break apart before the final strike. In the halls of the alien council, silence filled the chamber. No ruler dared speak. No general dared promise victory. For the first time, the galaxy was united in fear. And far away, hidden in the dark, the human fleet waited. Admiral Cade stood at the viewport of his flagship, watching the wreckage drift across the stars. His voice was calm. They think this was the battle. They think this was the war, but it has only begun. The shadows swallowed the human fleet once more, and the galaxy held its breath. The galaxy had never known fear like this. Fleets had burned. Empires had trembled. And yet the humans did not march forward to claim victory. Instead, they vanished. They melted back into the silence of space, leaving only wreckage and whispers. The alien rulers waited for a grand invasion, but none came. Weeks passed, then months. Still, the humans did not move their armies across the stars. Instead, they began a war unlike any the galaxy had seen. It started with trade routes. Cargo ships carrying food and fuel simply disappeared. Merchant fleets that once moved safely between worlds never arrived. At first, empires thought it was pirates. Then they realized it was worse. Every missing ship had traveled near human space, and none were ever seen again. Soon, entire colonies began to go dark. Power grids collapsed without warning. Communication towers shut down as if cut by invisible hands on some worlds. Whole cities woke up to find their defense satellites offline. Their skies were wide open and no one knew why. Fear spread like fire through dry grass. Alien generals tried to respond. They moved fleets to guard their borders, but the fleets grew restless. Weeks passed with no attacks. Then suddenly, one ship would vanish in the night. Another would explode without warning. Sometimes entire squadrons disappeared, leaving nothing but silence. It was war without battles, death without warning. On the bridge of a human warship, Admiral Cade spoke to his commanders. His tone was calm, almost cold. We do not need to fight their fleets. We will cut their strength from the inside. Without food, without power, without order, their empires will collapse on their own. His officers nodded, and the Shadow War continued. The galaxy called it the War of Shadows. For the first time, no one knew where the enemy was. No one knew when the next attack would come. Alien soldiers stared at the skies above their planets, certain that death was watching. Merchants refused to travel. Worlds began to starve. Civilizations turned on each other, blaming rivals for the destruction. The Council of Empires grew desperate. They gathered in secret halls. Leaders of once proud species now argued like frightened children. We must strike Earth directly, shouted one emperor. Burn it to ash and end this nightmare. Another ruler shook his head. And how will you find it? We sent fleets and they vanished. You will throw more ships into the fire. Rumors spread that humans had spies everywhere. Some alien leaders even began to kill their own advisors. Fearing they were human agents in disguise, trust shattered, allies became enemies. The humans had not only broken fleets, they had broken the galaxy's mind. One night in the skies above the empire of Kalreth, something terrifying happened. Their capital world, a jewel of towers and light, suddenly went dark. Power grids collapsed across the planet. Defense cannons shut down. Communication with orbiting stations was cut. Then slowly hundreds of lights appeared in the night sky. Ships black, silent, watching. The people screamed in terror. The rulers begged for their armies, but before the fleets could even arrive, the human warships disappeared again, leaving only silence. It was not an invasion, it was a warning. Alien citizens began to whisper. The humans are everywhere. They locked their doors. They distrusted their neighbors. They feared their own shadows. And through it all, the humans said nothing. They made no demands, no speeches, no promises. They simply continued the hunt. Admiral Cade stood once more at the window of his flagship. His officers awaited his command. He looked at the stars and his voice was calm. They think we are fighting for survival. They are wrong. We are fighting for control. They will not realize it until their worlds kneel on their own. The shadow war spread wider. Whole sectors went silent. Once proud empires shrank back to protect their hearts, abandoning colonies, abandoning allies, leaving billions to fend for themselves. Human warships picked off the stragglers. One by one, and still no one had seen the full human fleet. Not even in battle, the aliens saw only fragments, pieces of a greater storm hidden in the dark. The mystery grew heavier than the war itself. The question whispered through every corner of the galaxy. How many ships do the humans truly have? Some said hundreds, others said thousands. Some believed the humans had fleets hidden in every shadow, waiting to strike. In the council, an alien admiral spoke with shaking hands. "We are not fighting a fleet, we are fighting fear itself. And fear is winning." His words spread like fire. For the first time, rulers of mighty empires admitted the truth. Victory might not be possible. And yet, even as despair spread, some alien leaders planned a desperate move. They whispered of striking not at Earth, but at the very heart of human power, finding the hidden shipyards, the secret bases, destroying them before the humans could tighten the noose. But the humans had already prepared for this. They had been listening, watching, waiting. Every whisper in the council was already known to them, every plan already mapped. And as the aliens prepared their desperate strike, the humans smiled in silence. The War of Shadows was not the end. It was only the beginning. The galaxy thought it had seen the worst of humanity, but the true storm had not yet come. The humans were patient, they were hunters, and the hunt was far from over. The galaxy was breaking apart. Trade routes were gone, colonies abandoned, fleets scattered. The War of Shadows had left empires starving, trembling and afraid of the dark, yet still, the humans had not shown their full strength. They waited, patient as always, striking here and there, vanishing before the enemy could even see them. But the time for shadows was ending. Humanity had prepared for something greater. The storm was ready to break. It began with the skies of Dravenar, the capital of the proud Calreth Empire. For centuries, the Dravenar skyline had been filled with towers of glass and light, a symbol of power and wealth. That night, the towers burned without warning. The defense satellites surrounding the world fell silent. Massive cannons meant to protect the capital shut down as if they had never existed. The Empire's admirals screamed for their fleets, but the fleets were already gone, shattered in the Shadow War. And then the humans came. Black warships slid out of the void above the world. Hundreds of them. Their hulls gleamed like steel shadows, their weapons glowing faintly with restrained power. For a moment they simply hung in the sky, silent, watching. The people of Dravenar stared upward in horror. Some thought the humans would demand surrender. Some thought they would give warning, but the humans gave nothing. The first strike cut across the night like fire from a god. Towers cracked and fell. Cities trembled. The ground itself shook. More beams followed. And the skies turned red. The Calreth rulers begged for their armies. But there was no army left to save them. Within hours, their jewel of a capital was nothing but fire and smoke. Across the galaxy, other empires watched in terror. For the first time, the humans had attacked openly. For the first time, they had shown that they could strike not just fleets, but worlds, and it did not end there on the icy colonies of Varnock. Alien citizens woke to find strange black shapes blotting out the sun. The shapes were human warships drifting slowly, calmly, before unleashing fire that melted fortresses into rivers of steel. On the desert world of Erath, the great military academies were turned to ash. Generals who once mocked humans were buried under the ruins of their pride. On the ocean world of Marath, glowing lances of energy boiled the seas. Entire fleets sank without a trace, leaving only waves of steam that rose to the heavens everywhere. Skies burned. Alien leaders shouted for unity. For the first time, rival empires joined hands in desperation. The Council of Empires declared that humanity was not a simple race but a galactic threat. They promised vengeance, they promised survival, but their voices shook as they spoke. In the ruins of Dravenar, survivors whispered, "The humans do not conquer, they erase," and yet, even as the destruction spread, the humans showed control. They did not slaughter every world. They did not burn everything. They chose carefully. They targeted capitals, military worlds, supply hubs. Each strike was a message. Each strike was a lesson. Humanity was showing the galaxy that nowhere was safe. From his flagship, Admiral Cade watched the burning of Marath. His officers awaited his order, but he spoke only a few words. Do not destroy more than we must. Fear is the greater weapon. Let them destroy themselves. His words spread through the fleet, and the war continued with precision. Alien citizens lost faith in their rulers. Armies deserted. Whole planets surrendered before a single human shot was fired. They raised white lights in their skies, begging to be spared. Some even offered their ships and weapons to the humans, desperate to survive. The galaxy had never seen such a war. This was not conquest by brute force. It was domination by terror. Every strike was a reminder, every silence a warning. But as the humans advanced, the empires grew desperate. They gathered what fleets remained, pulling warships from every corner of their crumbling territories. For once the galaxy stood together. 1,000 ships, the largest force in history, assembled to fight back. They swore this would be their last stand. They chose the battleground of Nexora, a system of 5 suns and dozens of planets, a place where they believed they could trap the human fleet. Alien admirals filled the stars with weapons, confident they could not lose. But humans had been waiting for this. In hidden bases scattered across the stars, commanders smiled. Let them gather, they said. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. And so the trap was set. Not for humanity, but for the galaxy itself. The skies burned across 1,000 worlds, and still the humans came. The empires thought they had seen the worst of mankind, but they were wrong. The Shadow War had been only the beginning. The burning of worlds was only the middle. The true war, the final storm, was yet to come. And as the alien armada gathered at Nexora, preparing to fight with every ship they had left, a message spread quietly across human fleets. A single order, simple and calm: prepare the Leviathan. The galaxy's largest fleet filled the Nexora system like a wall of fire. More than 1,000 warships, gathered from every empire, circled the suns. Their hulls gleamed with polished metal, their weapons charged and waiting. This was the last hope of the galaxy. If they could not crush the humans here, then no one could. Alien admirals stood on the bridges of their flagships, shouting orders with voices full of false confidence. We will burn them from the stars, they declared. We will show humanity that we are still masters of this galaxy. Yet inside, fear ate at them. They remembered the vanished fleets, the burning skies, the black shadows that came without warning. At first all was quiet. The fleet waited, scanners sweeping the void, silence pressing against every heart. Then slowly the shadows came. From the dark edges of the system, human warships appeared, hundreds of them gliding silently. Their hulls reflected no light. Their engines whispered instead of roared. For a moment the galaxy's fleet almost felt relief. They outnumbered the humans at least 3 to 1. Surely this time numbers would matter. Surely this time power would triumph. The first clash came like lightning. Human ships cut through the alien lines, striking fast and vanishing again. Alien cannons roared, filling the void with fire. But most hit nothing but stars. Human warships weaved through the chaos. Smaller, faster, sharper. Every strike crippled a ship. Every move left confusion behind. Alien admirals ordered the fleet to tighten its formation. Walls of ships bristling with weapons closed ranks. But the humans were ready. They dove into the gaps like knives, slicing apart the formation. And when the aliens tried to scatter, the humans were already waiting. For hours the battle raged. Stars turned red with fire. Wreckage drifted like broken bones. The galaxy's greatest fleet was being torn apart piece by piece, but still they fought. They were desperate. And desperation made them dangerous. Then the shadows shifted. The human warships fell back. They formed lines, leaving the battlefield strangely quiet. Alien admirals hesitated, confused. They had never seen humans retreat. Was this their chance? Was victory finally close? And then they saw it. From the black beyond, a shape emerged. Larger than any warship the galaxy had ever seen, it dwarfed the alien dreadnoughts. Its hull stretched for kilometers, bristling with weapons that glowed with restrained power. It moved like a mountain drifting through the void, and yet every motion felt precise, alive. The Leviathan, humanity's ultimate warship. The sight alone broke the courage of many. Some alien captains screamed to retreat. Others froze in terror. Only a few dared to fight. The Leviathan opened fire. Beams of energy brighter than suns tore through enemy ships. Shields collapsed as if they were paper. Hulls melted into rivers of molten steel. Missiles the size of towers streaked across the battlefield, splitting into swarms of smaller warheads that hunted their prey. In minutes, entire squadrons were gone. Alien fleets tried to surround it. Their cannons filled the void with fire, but the Leviathan's shields absorbed the storm like rain against stone. Its hull barely trembled, its response was merciless. Whole battle groups vanished in a single strike. Admiral Cade stood on its command deck. His face calm, his voice steady. Do not chase them. Do not waste fire, let them come and break against us. His words carried through the Leviathan, and the crew obeyed. Alien admirals begged their ships to hold the line. Destroy it. All weapons on the Leviathan. But their fire was scattered, chaotic. Their formations were broken. The humans struck from every side, weaving around the great ship, herding the enemy into its killing field. The battle lasted for days. Every sun in Nexora burned red with the light of destruction. The galaxy's 1,000 warships shrank with every hour. Hundreds became dozens, dozens became handfuls, until finally, the survivors turned and fled, their pride shattered, their voices filled with terror. The Leviathan did not chase them. It let them run. It let them carry the story. For that was the greater weapon. The survivors would tell every world, every empire, every corner of the galaxy what they had seen. They would tell of the mountain-sized warship that no weapon could harm, of the human fleet that moved like shadows, of the hopelessness of resistance. In the halls of the Council of Empires, silence fell. Leaders who once ruled galaxies sat broken. They had given everything to Nexora, and still they had lost. Humanity had not just defeated them. Humanity had crushed the idea that they could ever win. On the bridge of the Leviathan, Admiral Cade looked out at the drifting wreckage. The stars burned faintly through the smoke of battle. His officers stood in silence. Waiting for his word, he spoke softly. The galaxy is broken. The time has come to end this war, and with that, the Leviathan turned its massive hull toward the heart of alien power, toward the capital of the United Empires. The final strike was coming. The last stand of the galaxy was over, and humanity was ready to claim the stars. The alien capital had always been untouchable, a shining world at the heart of the Council of Empires. It was guarded by rings of fortresses, shielded by fleets, and armed with weapons powerful enough to shatter moons for thousands of years. It had stood as the symbol of unity and strength, but now, as the Leviathan approached with the human fleet behind it, the capital's skies filled with fear. Every sensor on the planet screamed warnings. Thousands of alien voices cried out in panic. Commanders shouted orders. Fleets scrambled into formation. But the people could see it with their own eyes. Rising from the darkness beyond their suns was the shape of the Leviathan. Larger than anything they had ever imagined, it was not a warship. It was a moving world of steel and shadow. Its guns glowed faintly, waiting. The alien admirals tried to rally their forces. Hundreds of ships formed a wall between the Leviathan and the capital. They swore they would die before letting humans reach their world. Their voices shook, but they fought. The battle began with fire. Alien cannons thundered, filling the void with waves of energy. Missiles streaked across the stars. The Leviathan stood in silence, shields glowing softly as they absorbed the storm. Around it, the smaller human warships moved like wolves, slipping through the chaos, striking and vanishing, tearing holes in the alien lines. Alien ships exploded in clusters. Their formations collapsed still. They fought with desperate fury. They knew this was the end if they lost here. Their empires would be nothing, but no courage, no weapon, no sacrifice could stop the humans now. The Leviathan advanced. Slowly, endlessly, its guns opened fire. Each blast tore through fleets, breaking apart ships as if they were made of glass. Its missiles split into storms of fire, hunting down stragglers. Its shadow loomed larger and larger until the alien fleets broke. Some captains fled, abandoning their allies. Some tried to ram the Leviathan, but their ships shattered against its hull. From the planet's surface, the people watched in horror. The skies burned red. The night was filled with falling wreckage. Pieces of their proud fleets rained down like firestorms. Towers shook, oceans boiled. The defenders screamed to their leaders for hope. But no answer came. Inside the council chamber, alien rulers gathered in chaos. Some demanded surrender. Others screamed for one last strike, but even as they argued, the walls trembled with the force of battle. They knew the truth, the war was lost. Then the Leviathan spoke for the first time. Humanity sent a message across the stars. A calm, steady voice filled every screen, every radio, every heart. It was Admiral Cade. His words were simple. We warned you, we waited. You thought us weak, but you were wrong. The galaxy is ours now. Silence followed. Billions listened in terror. And then the Leviathan's guns turned toward the capital itself. The first strike tore through the defense ring. Towers of steel that had guarded the planet for centuries fell in seconds. The second strike burned through the city shields. Energy barriers that had never failed before vanished like mist. And then the third strike reached the surface. The ground split open. Towers crumbled, oceans boiled into steam. The great capital of the galaxy screamed as fire swallowed it whole. The alien rulers fled, but there was nowhere to run. Human warships filled the skies, every escape path closed within hours. The capital was ash and silence. The proud symbol of unity was gone. The galaxy's heart had stopped beating. Across the stars, the news spread. Empires that had once mocked humans now knelt in fear. Colonies raised white lights, begging for mercy. Armies threw down their weapons. Entire worlds surrendered without a single shot. The galaxy was broken and humanity stood above it. On the bridge of the Leviathan, Admiral Cade looked at the burning planet below. His officers waited in silence. He spoke softly, not with triumph, but with certainty. It is finished. They never knew what we could do, and by the time they learned, it was too late. The words echoed across the fleet. They would echo across history, and then came the silence. The guns cooled, the wreckage drifted. The war was over. Humanity had claimed the stars. But even in victory, the humans did not cheer. Their faces were calm, their voices quiet. They had not fought for glory, they had fought for survival. They had fought because they had no choice. And now the galaxy belonged to them. On distant worlds, alien children looked to the skies and whispered the same word. A word filled with fear, respect, and awe. Human, and in the endless dark of space. The Leviathan drifted on, silent and unstoppable. The galaxy was vast, but now it was theirs. And in the deep quiet, the stars themselves seemed to bow. The story of the aliens was over. The age of humanity had begun.